everyone! My name is Evie Lupine. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. Today we are back with a little bit of a spooky edition for the channel. We are going to be talking about Halloween activity and scene ideas for littles and pets. And I really don't get to talk that much about pet play these days on my channel, so I am really excited to share these ideas. And I hope that no matter where you are on the spectrum from cute and spoopy to spooky and scary, that something on here will help you get into the holiday spirit. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first one is trick-or-treating indoors. Now, obviously, if you are an adult and if you are watching this channel, you should be an adult, it is frowned upon to go out actually trick-or-treating unless you have kids or you're babysitting or something. So if you want to do something at home, you can totally do that. Now, if your little age range is on the younger side, like 3 or 4, you can just like practice trick-or-treating indoors in your house and like ring the doorbell, knock the door, open the door, give them a piece of candy, and just like do that over and over again for as long as it continues to be funny. Now, if you are a pet or an older little or middle, you can also do an alternative to trick-or-treating, which is an indoor scavenger hunt. I was actually just at Target to get some of the set pieces you see behind me, and while I was there, they actually had like Halloween themed like Easter eggs, so you can get like little mini pumpkins or Halloween Easter eggs, put candy in those, and then hide them around the house. If the person you are doing this with, or if you are a pet, then make sure you are really trying to like stay in that role play headspace. Don't just like human logic your way through things. Like really try to stick with either your nose or your eyes, whatever makes sense for your species to use to try and find the objects around the house. If you want to take this in a little bit more of a darker mindfucky kind of direction, you can also do something as the top where you insist that there is one last Halloween egg that needs to be found, and then after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, until they're absolutely sure they have double checked everywhere and they are losing their minds trying to find this egg, then pull it out of your pocket like a magic trick and go, oh, it was here the whole time. Definitely pre-negotiate doing stuff like that though. If you want to go even darker than that, look no further than Jimmy Fallon's Halloween candy trick. Tell your little the day afterwards that you have eaten all of their Halloween candy. Be prepared for a meltdown after that one though, because that can be a little bit of a too deep place to go. If you like going in a more DS direction in general though, something really simple to do is once all of the candy has been found, it goes to the dom for safekeeping, and then after that the submissive has to ask for permission for any candy, or the dom gets to pick which candy they get, or they are in charge of the submissive's candy allowance every day or every week. There are a few different variations you can put on that, but it all goes back to that permission aspect. Number 2 is Halloween costumes 24/7. Now, obviously, one of the most fun parts of Halloween is the dress up part, especially for pets and littles. And with Halloween costumes, they are really fun on the day of, but if you've ever been around a school or small children in the weeks leading up to Halloween, you know, oftentimes they really want to wear their costume for basically all of October as soon as they get it. So what you can do instead is have Halloween costumes be part of the uniform you have your partner wear when you are around them to help them stay in headspace. You can make a whole day of it where you go shopping together for a Halloween costume or costumes. Maybe the dom gets to pick which costumes get worn or get purchased. And also for pets, there is a funny but kind of surprising element of consensual non-consent, or CNC, that can happen here, because when you think about it, pets don't know about Halloween. They don't know about costumes. Like, humans just put silly costumes on their dogs or cats, and just there's nothing the pet can do about it. So if you want a little bit of humiliation, embarrassment type of stuff, you can also do that with pets and Halloween costumes, and make them wear just like the most ridiculous, oversized, undersized, ill-fitting, cheap Alibaba thing that you can get. And I just think that would be really funny and a unique, unexpected spin on a little bit of Halloween fun. And not to mention, if you add a little bit of light bondage with rope or cuffs to this, you have a very hilarious way to do a little bit of predicament or escape bondage. Just make sure, if you are playing as a pet and you want to make sure to really get into the headspace, like wrap up your hands into paws or hooves or whatever have you, just to make sure you aren't going to cheat with thumbs and fingers trying to get the costume or the bondage off. Number 3 is, well, I don't actually know if this has a name. I'm gonna call it Guess What's in the Bag, and if it does actually have a name, let me know below. But if you ever had a Halloween party as a kid in the 90s, you maybe did this. So basically what this is you get black garbage bags and you fill them with all manner of sensory goodies, like cooked spaghetti and gummy worms and tapioca and pudding and whipped cream, and you try to kind of make them replicate certain like gross sensations or feelings. And what's really fun about this is because it's in a black bag, it can be a very easy way to engage in a little bit of mindfuckery, because hey, do you know if that's cooked spaghetti left over from last night, or could that really be rat brains? You never know. And so if you get into it enough, it can really be a good way to experience a little bit of that fear, but in a very controlled setting. Also, it is kind of like gross in a texture way, which some people find very enjoying to play around with. And also, if you want to take it up another direction, blindfold them, and then after they stick their hand in the bag, they have to eat a spoonful of whatever is inside. I'm getting like gross shivers like thinking about this, and I'm sorry I have given you all such terrible ideas, and we are not even halfway through this list. Number 4 would be making your own haunted house. Haunted houses are something that everyone of all ages can enjoy. From something that's basically like a simple corn maze with some sound effects, all the way over to dedicated haunted house exhibits that are really, really, really intense. So there is that sort of ability to change this into whatever you want it to be. Now, if you don't have the space to make your own haunted house, obviously you can go to a haunted house together and maybe just have a rule that you and your partner have to stay really close or hold hands the whole time. Really encourage them to look to you as the dominant partner, as like their source of comfort and encouragement, kind of have that sort of I guess this is sort of a bonding activity. I don't know if there's maybe a better way to think about it, but that's how I visualize it. And that can be a really fun way of sort of like helping someone, especially in a little headspace or a pet headspace that is maybe not understanding what's going on or is scared and confused, like going back and relying on their partner. And I think that's sort of a nice alternative to a lot of the other suggestions I have on here. Now, if you as the dom want to be the scary one, which is totally valid, you can make your own haunted house. This could literally be your garage, a shed in the backyard, a room in your house, in someone else's house. You can recruit people in your community to help you out with this. You can deck it out with a fog machine and pre-recorded voice clips and audio files. It can be kind of very cheesy, very forwardly Halloween-y. It can be very scary. It can be modeled on like a murder scene. It can be whatever flavor you want it to be. But it can offer a lot of fun and playing with fear. Like literally you could have something where even if you have a really small space, all you need is some restraints and a blindfold. It's literally like the duct tape. Well, duct tape is the duct tape of BDSM, but blindfolds are also the duct tape of BDSM because they do solve a lot of problems, like being able to mentally invest in a scene. And so even if you have a small space that your partner knows really well, just moving the furniture around, getting a fog machine, having them wear a blindfold when they enter the house, and then having them maybe in like some kind of hobble restraint, or you are handcuffed to them or something like that, where you are controlling and guiding their movements. It is so easy to get turned around in your own house, even when it's just dark. Adding on a blindfold and changing just subtle things can really amp it up. You can also add in things like gags or noise canceling headphones if you really want to amplify the experience and the sense of helplessness, but that is just an add-on. It is by no means necessary to make a sufficient haunted house. Now, especially if you are making them think that there are other people involved here, really make sure you are getting that advanced permission for grabbing, touching, groping, shaking, anything like that, even if it's really just you, because you really don't want someone to go into panic mode thinking a stranger is touching them and then like elbowing you in the nose. Okay, we don't want to have this experience turn into a Halloween ER visit. So just make sure you are doing those negotiations up front, and if you are playing in a really deep space in terms of mindfuckery that's kind of outside of the scope of this video, and that is going to be some additional research you would need to do outside of this. Number 5 is, of course, pumpkin carving. I love pumpkin carving, and it's a really great way to make a whole day together where you can go to a pumpkin patch, pick out a pumpkin, have some apple cider, get a donut. It's just a really fun, sweet day to have together that's in a totally different direction than like a mindfuck haunted house. So if you like that little bit of a lighter side to things, pumpkin carving is a great idea. And if you happen to have someone that is too little to hold a knife, or a pet that doesn't have the fingers or thumbs to hold on to a knife, pumpkin painting is a really great alternative as well. So break out the finger paints, get a tarp, prepare for some mess, and just have some fun creativity with Halloween colors and some seasonal inspiration. Also, this is really good if you are somebody that doesn't deal like very well in a sensory way with the sensation of pumpkin guts, although I will also add that if you do gut a pumpkin and you have the pumpkin seeds, you can roast them together and turn them either into a snack for your little that you have made together, or for treats for your pet. So either way is a really good option. It just depends on what you want to get out of the experience. Number 6 is Wet and Messy Play, Spooky Edition. I have already talked about pumpkin guts and gummy worms and whipped cream and tapioca, and you know, fall is just like a messy season. There's a lot of different sensations and textures, all kinds of sort of unusual food that you can play around with, and so I think this time of the year really lends itself to trying out Wet and Messy Play if you haven't done that before and want kind of a role play reason to get into it. And if you are like that, I would say you could do something like maybe having a little that made a big mess while trying to eat a pumpkin pie or while carving a pumpkin, or maybe you have a pet that was very naughty and got into the Halloween buffet before the party and just got super messy because of that. Of course, though, it doesn't have to have any role play logic behind it. It can just be because sensations are fun, and mixing hot and cold and sticky and wet and soft and jelly and like all those different little parts can be really fun to play around with, and I think is a really good thing to do as a beginner, but also as a more advanced player if you add in things like restraints or sensory deprivation or CNC. It really goes across the whole spectrum. Number 7 is toilet paper mummification. Now, I could not make a scene idea list without putting something in there for the bondage lovers, so this one is for all of you out there that love bondage. Of course, I really enjoy mummification. Usually in kink, this is done with something like saran wrap, but you can also do it with toilet paper, which I think is so funny and perfect for playing with a little or with a pet, because I think it's very reminiscent of sort of an elementary schooler age idea of like a DIY costume. It's kind of silly and funny, it is cheap and easy to do, and if you wrap around enough toilet paper, it's eventually going to get kind of solid, but it's never going to be like super restraining because it is like soft paper. So it's not maybe going to be as intense as saran wrap. It's going to feel different on the skin. So I think it's a good introduction to something like that. So you can literally cover your partner from the neck down to their toes, all the way in toilet paper, and it can be a lot of fun. Also, I would say as well, if you do want to do something that is more solid, you can do a layer of saran wrap first and then put the toilet paper on top of that, just to make sure you're kind of getting the more solid element that really sticks the body together. Also making sure that you were getting that toilet paper effect as well. And again, do keep in mind though, this isn't going to be super solid, so you're not necessarily going to get a lot of playtime out of this one, but it can be a good way to maybe start or end a different bondage scene, or just have something that's really kind of light and quick to do. Number 8 is becoming a doll or a puppet. I do think Halloween, any kind of seasonal activity, is a really good opportunity to try out new types of play. And one of those might be dollification, which I think oftentimes gets overlooked, but it is a very interesting form of play, and I think it does lend itself really well to Halloween. Like, you might be a little or a pet, but what if you then become a literal baby doll or a stuffed animal or a dog puppet for a stage show? It can be something that really amplifies the sense of control. It can use mental bondage, lots of makeup and costuming. It can be a really fun sort of thing to experiment with, and I would highly encourage you to do so if you think you might enjoy something in this direction. You can even take this in a creepier direction if you wanted to, like maybe you become a broken porcelain Victorian baby doll, or you become a cursed puppet that your partner bought at an estate sale. Like, the horror movie plots really just write themselves, but if you don't want to go that deep with the role play and just have it be about the movement and the speech restrictions, that is totally fine as well. Number 9 is a mad scientist experiment. Now, if you are into dark age play, dark pet play, medical play, anything like that, this is going to be the idea for you. So what I am picturing is you capture your partner, maybe you have them be like a runaway pet and they get like captured by like a dog napper, or maybe they ran away from home and they get napped by like a mad scientist that's on the loose or something, and you do some takedown and capture, you do some struggling, maybe some restraints, and you take them to the lab, and the lab has a little cage that they get put in, and it's like dark and covered, and there's spooky music or an ominous soundtrack or the vague sound of voices but far away, just something to kind of disorient them a little bit, put them more in that headspace. And even just this part of the scene by itself is fairly intense, like knowing that this is an experiment, they are going to be used for something but they don't know what, and they are just waiting for that to happen, is agonizing. So it could literally be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. If it's going to be kind of longer, make sure they have some room to move around, because you don't want to put somebody in a position where they are completely locked up for that long and cannot move on their own. But, you know, with some movement allowance, you can have them in a cage for for a decent amount of time. Now, one of the framings that I think works really well here is doing a reflex test. Maybe you are testing their responses to sudden bright light and then total darkness, or sudden loud noises, or long total silence. Maybe you are seeing how quickly they take to respond to being shocked through the cage with a violet wand, or maybe you are measuring how quickly their muscles contract when you have them hooked up to some tens units pads. Totally whatever you want it to be. Now remember, this is a mad scientist, so they are kooky. What they are doing doesn't have to make sense. It could literally be a test that is somehow done with a banana, an alarm clock, and some silly string, and just leaving your partner guessing how all of those things could possibly be incorporated. Or maybe you're not really into the whole medical play thing, in which case I would say maybe your experiment is that you are testing the physiological or the psychological thresholds for pain tolerance, and then you can just do regular old impact play with a different role play spin. Number 10 is a Halloween maze hunt. This one can be a little bit difficult to organize, but if you can manage it, it is a lot of fun. So, around here, this time of year, there are many corn mazes, and many of them can be rented out and have a fire pit in them, so that way at the center you can make s'mores or hot dogs once you have figured out the maze. And if you can get one of these, it is a really great way to sort of play outside in public but not really be around other people, so maybe you can just like giggle, laugh, enjoy helping your little navigate through a maze while they are in headspace, or you can do some takedown and capture, or maybe as the dom you go in first and they have to try and make their way through the maze before you can like jump out and spook them. Or maybe you subtly put a blindfold on them, so they have to try and go through the maze with a blindfold on. And for me, that's like just basically applied obedience training, because if you are only going off of verbal directions to go left, right, stay straight, back up, like that just seems like a perfect way to try out some pet play training in a sort of non-conventional setting. So I think all of that can be really fun. Of course, with any of these suggestions, if you are going to be doing something in public, please be cautious about it. You really don't want to end up being the next like viral, cringy TikTok. I am really not a proponent of doing kink in public. I do think there is a difference between wearing a plain bandana blindfold with some regular street clothes, just laughing with your partner as you go through a maze, versus calling up the owner of the farm, telling them you want to rent the corn maze for a BDSM scene, and then showing up in all leathers and having a flogger and Lord knows what else with you at the family pumpkin patch. So just be aware of where you are doing things, who you are doing things around. Keep it respectful, keep it subtle. We want to make sure we are staying good representations of the BDSM community, because unfortunately a lot of people do harbor a lot of judgment because of the ways that some people choose to try and basically like force their kinks on other people, which I am very much against. I know, kind of a downer note to end this video on, but I do think it is an important point, since so many of these things maybe could possibly involve a slightly public element to them. With all that being said though, those are all of my suggestions for Halloween scene and activity ideas. I would love to know what you all think down in the comment section below. What are some of your favorites? Is there anything you have a tradition around, anything you do every year? I would love to know, again, down in that comment section below. If you enjoyed this, if you have not already, please do subscribe. I make videos twice a week about all sorts of kink and BDSM related subjects. And finally, if you really like what I do, if you want to support this channel, the best way that you can do that is with Patreon. A link to that will also be down below. If you do already support me over there, thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me. And until I see you all next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a very happy Halloween. Bye-bye.